Oh man, gotta get another video out. Maybe I can just take a quick nap. Oh god. Oh, you're here already. Oh well. Welcome back, everyone. In our ever wonderful mission to bring more theater people to the world of D&D, today we'll be looking at how designers fit into this world. Think you don't have a place here, designers? Well, that's just silly. Today I'm going to show you how, in today's episode, designers unite. First up, let's talk costume design. Now, costume design is important because costumes communicate details about a character. What time period they're from, what country or area they're from, their gender, their status in society, their job, their age, on and on. This is done through texture, color, silhouette, accessories, etc., etc. These costumes must be created in a way that is obvious to the audience, accurate, durable, and functional for what the actor has to do on stage. And that is the job of the costume designer. So clearly, the costume designer is in charge of creating the looks that the actors will wear. They must do a close reading of the script first. They have to analyze the plot, the tone, and the setting of the play. Then they dive right into research, creating sketches, communicating their color and texture choices to the other designers, especially the lighting designer, to make sure that the show looks like one cohesive piece. And also they will create renderings in order to visually communicate these things to people like the director, who have to make choices on these things. So how does this fit into D&D? Easy. Character design. Both the dungeon master and the players do character design. The players for their own characters, and the DM for non-player characters or NPCs. Players design their own characters, choosing their race, their class, their outfits, everything about their own character, even drawing them onto little game tiles if you want. The DM handles all other character design, be it bosses that were planned in advance to NPCs that weren't supposed to be there but now they are. Sometimes you don't even have to draw them, you can just print them from online. There are also times when the DM has to describe what someone looks like without a physical reference. Sometimes you just have to make it up as you go. Now moving on to set design. The set design is important as it gives context for the play. No matter how minimalistic, it creates a world on stage that is separate from the off-stage one. This world is created through the use of flats, platforms, curtains, drapes, flooring treatments, and so much more. Now, of course, the scenic designer will have to do a close read of the script to analyze the different places in the scenes. They make ground plans, sketches, white models to make changes to, and final colored models. All of which has to be done to scale using one of these babies. Scenic designers will also have to talk with the lighting designers, as scenery can dictate where lighting elements can or cannot go. There are a couple ways that I incorporate scenic design into my Dungeons & Dragons sessions. First is map making, and the second is scale model making. When it comes to map making, there are two types of maps that I use. The first is like a city map. It really resembles the ground plan that scenic designers use. The second is usually on the back side, which I use for battles, sometimes laying things on top of it, like the scale models that I've made. Now, these are kind of small, so let's get a little bit of a closer look. First, I made these little tables for a fancy party setting. I used toothpicks and paper to make a general table look. Then I put paper that I painted purple on top of it. I punched out little holes in a different kind of paper to make plates, and used spices like whole allspice or some dried oregano to look like there was food on there. To make the tables look messy, I used wax and other kinds of burnt wood to make it look like there was stuff spilled all over it. And the tiny napkin is made out of a real paper napkin. Next, I have my farm setting. I went to Michael's and bought some tiny corn and tiny sunflowers, and then I hot glued them to some plastic that I cut up into specific shapes due to the way my map was made. Then I would just lay them on top of my map, and the player tiles could move around them. And before you ask, yes, those tables are in scale. And yes, I know exactly how far each city is from each other on my big map, because I did measure it with a scale ruler. Now, another interesting I've seen for scenic design is the use of projections. Now this is something I find really cool. If you're into projection design, you might want to look into this for your own campaigns. It is not only a quick way to change the scene, but also can add a dynamic aspect where the water isn't just sitting there, but also flowing. Now, I like to put sound and lighting design together because they're both such an ethereal aspect of a show. They both can convey feelings, time of day, direct which way the audience should be looking, etc. Of course, lighting does this in a visual way. Lighting uses color, can reveal things, transform the mood, or even the shape and size of a scene. Sound design is an immersive piece of the design, whether it be through a live band or recorded pieces. It can further establish the feel of the show through pre-show music, sound effects, background music, accompaniment, etc. You know that song that just always manages to make you cry? That's exactly what sound design does. Again, sound and lighting designers have to, say it with me now, analyze the script. They do this to find moments where the mood shifts, characters enter or exit, the scene just straight up changes, and so on. However, unlike costume or set design, their building process doesn't start until tech rehearsals. Of course, they prepare beforehand, but implementing the design happens at this time, which can be as short as a few hours or as long as a few weeks. I've worked on shows where tech was 8 hours total and where tech was 2 10-hour days. This is where sound and lighting have to be flexible and really work with the other designers and the director. Sometimes you thought there was going to be a fantastic look and it ends up not working. So, where does this come in handy when it comes to D&D? As a DM, I've seen a lot of tips and tricks for this. For lighting, you can use fake candles, or real candles, but I've also seen people use lighting strips that change colors so that during battle it goes red, or during a normal day it's blue or green. And for sound, I've used a YouTube playlist for battle music, tavern music, traveling music, and city music. I also know there are plenty of apps out there that have sound effects like gates opening or birds or forest sounds. Well, that's all I have for you today. Next time, we'll talk about the actor part and how all of that fits into D&D. But for now, I think I'm gonna treat myself to some candy and a nap. See you next time.